Hello, Internet, and welcome back to more story times from when I used to work at an arcade. I am once again recording this inside of my car because I keep forgetting to record when I'm home. I drive an hour. I should just free run these things while driving, but I don't think that's safe. Unless you just want to hear me rant for like a fucking hour. But this is a story time from, I wrote this originally as a blog post, like I did the last arcade story time, back in 2019 on February 16th, and it was apparently uploaded at 9:30 a.m. And it was titled, Jerk Threatens to Throw Food. Or at least that's what I titled it when I went over this to edit it. This is another one from the blog, just as I stated. And I titled it Work Stories, February 15th. So all of this happened on the 15th, and I typed it up on the 16th, so about a day. So let's see what I had remembered and bring back some traumatic memories. I work at an arcade, and I'm not sure why, but people are being more rude and entitled for no reason. A guy said he was going to throw his food in my face while I was in the middle of helping another customer. Which I do vaguely remember that, but at the time of me starting these story times, I did not until I pulled up this blog post. So fuck. I went to work at 5 p.m. I did realize once I got there that I left my work shoes at home. So I sent my boyfriend a text message asking him to bring me my work shoes when he gets home from work, which, given the traffic from the past few days, would be around 7-ish. Since my normal shoes are black, they shouldn't be too much trouble to wear for 2 hours as I do my job, even though I'm technically was supposed to wear non-slip shoes, but if you're careful, you can get away with it. Things were going blasé. My coworker, who didn't clock in yet, told me that we have 8 parties tomorrow. Good chaos. I already knew Saturday was going to be chaotic. And also, they often did this. We were only supposed to have a total of like 4 parties a day, but someone would schedule parties that overlapped, 2 or so that were at the same time and all that, and it was a fucking issue. I get on the floor and begin helping my lead prep. He gets me to work on pizzas, and he works on wings. So my lead at the time would have been Charles, Matachi. Correction, Matachi. Y'all don't need to know people's real names. Hopefully I'll remember to edit that out. He gets those at the bar while I get those at the food and bev space. He goes to get water, and I handle both stations. Luckily, it's slow at the moment, and not many people need things. My coworker, Sonia, clocks in and takes over kitchen space while I'm in the middle helping people at the bar. I had a stream of steady people. I had 2 guys who wanted to get another drink. I decided to help the one at the end of the bar first because one of them has a beer 3/4 to half full, and the guy next to him didn't have a drink. Guy tells me he wants 2 Dos Equis. I told them I need to see the other man's ID. The man said something about not having a photo ID, which I thought was odd, but I reiterated I needed to see an ID before I could serve him. They handed me a folded up piece of paper with tiny text on it, no photo. One of them mentioned it was a temporary ID. I explained to him that I wouldn't be able to accept the ID, and because he didn't have a proper ID, he wouldn't be allowed to drink. His friend, who had a proper ID, went off saying, "But he's with me," as he got up from the bar and walked away, still saying, "But he's with me." And that was a constant occurrence. Everyone apparently thinks that because you get a temporary paper ID, you can use that to buy alcohol and stuff at bars, but you cannot. We are not legally allowed to serve you at a bar. I believe it also works at the grocery store as well. You have to have a hard plastic copy. The temporary ID is just so that you can drive your car and not get in trouble. That is all the temporary ID is for. And I don't know why dumbasses can't seem to get that fucking point. I went to serving the rest of the people at the bar. I recall serving the party dad because we had 2 parties that evening. I also warned Sonia to keep an eye on the two at the end of the bar. One, to make sure the one without a wristband wasn't drinking, and two, the other guy seemed to have an attitude issue. There was no one at the bar who needed anything. Other dude, who I will now dub Jerk, still had half a full glass last I checked. I went to take orders for Sonia so that she could cook. Most of the people were wanting ice cream, and surprisingly, a lot wanted ice cream in cups, which is rare. They normally wanted cones, and our ice cream scoop kept breaking. I remember that debacle as well. I saw Amy walk by at some point, so it was around 6:30 p.m. I had seen Sonia walk to the bar to help someone over there since she was closest. The food counter had a steady stream of people constantly coming to order food. I recall a sweet dad making several runs to the counter to make a few individual orders of food. At some point, Jerk comes over to the food counter to order. He got 2 6-piece wings and asked if it comes with fries. I replied that it doesn't. He says to add an order of fries. I asked 2, holding up 2 fingers just to make sure. He gives me a major attitude going, yes, 2. I'm just trying to do my job and make sure your order is right. No need to be all huffy, but whatever. I read the order back to make sure it's correct. I don't want to hear anything about his order was taken wrong when it wasn't. He also says he needs me back at the bar. I responded that there's someone over there. He states there's not, and I wonder where Sonia has gone. He also accuses me of being rude for not coming back to check up on him. I hold my hands up as a gesture at the food counter. I hold my hands up as I gesture to the food counter, and I'm just like, I've been here, I state, doing my job. I kinda can't leave the food counter when there are people in the line, as a few people got in line behind him during his order. I handed him a receipt and tell him his order number is 45. I proceed to help the one lady that was in line behind him. She wanted ice cream. I look up, and Sonia is at the bar. So I don't bother going to the bar, since Sonia is a better bartender than me. She really is. She's great at handling humans, and I'm not. I know she can handle him. I finally have a space of air to breathe so I can change the ice cream scoop water, which was always fucking disgusting. And the container it was in was hot as shit, so you had to be careful picking that fucker up or risk burning yourself. I also restocked the ranch and blue cheese since there is hardly any up front. In the midst of restocking blue cheese, my lead asks where I am, and I go, I'm in the back restocking blue cheese. Lead comes in the back, your boyfriend's here. Ah, cool. He brought me my shoes. I explained to him how I left my work shoes at home. I greet my boyfriend by the food counter and get my shoes for him, which he had put in a bag our sheets came in. I say thanks and I love you. BF is still in work clothes, so I know he hasn't been home long. He nods and goes to change, and I go to change my shoes, letting my lead know on my way. I hurry to change my shoes and try to be quiet so my managers don't realize I haven't been wearing my non-slip shoes. I return within a few minutes and take back over taking orders. I've only taken a few orders when Jerk shows up. He asks me if his food is done. I'm in the middle of serving an ice cream order. I ask him what the order number is as I look at the ice cream ticket I'm working on. I'm only taking orders and serving ice cream. I'm not handling any of the food, so I obviously have no clue what's being made, what's being called, all that. So I need to make sure tickets match before I grab any trays of food. Jerk simply tells me what his order was. I replied that we need to see the receipt with the order number. It's so that we aren't giving people wrong orders and wasting food. He then starts going off and being rude. I just continue doing my job with ice cream and tell him we need the order number and the receipt. We often get several people ordering the same thing, so we are required to see all food receipts before we give anyone food. Jerk finally produces a receipt, and I ask the lead if he has this number and point at the receipt. He takes over, and I try to go about getting the ice cream for my customers. Jerk is going off, saying we should have brought his food to him since I knew he was at the bar. I explain that we call the number over the intercom, the customers to come pick up the food. He insisted that we didn't call it, but lead just assures him we did call his number as he gives him the food. Jerk then proceeds to state over and over, if my food is cold, I'm going to throw it in your face, and he's saying it towards me. I look at my lead like, what the fuck? I tell him to let Sonia know not to serve Jerk any more booze while I finish up an ice cream order. I personally avoided the bar for a while. I saw security come over and I was asked to help the party host take the party food to the lanes. So I do that and try to calm my nerves, though in the back of my mind I'm shaken and scared of jerk. And also, go ahead, I will call the police and file a report, because I'm a bitch. And I'm not gonna take your bullshit. I smile at the party dad as I walk past and let him know that we are bringing his food out now. I go about doing my job and sticking to the food counter. I don't want to be anywhere near the bar in case he is still there. As a security guard walks past me, I ask if they handled the guy who said he was going to throw his food in my face. He tells me he believes Jackson did. I saw security have to go to the bar a few times that evening. There weren't many other hiccups throughout the night, at least not with customers. Amy went on her 10 around the same time as a bunch of people came up to the food counter, so I was taking orders and my manager was making them. My alarm on my watch went off for my lunch at 9 p.m. No Amy in sight. Amy tells me she'll take over the next customer, and I nod. This is at 9:20. I breathe a sigh of relief. I finished that customer, but Amy isn't there. I'm stuck taking orders as I wait for Amy. Then around 9:40, the manager comes over and tells me that she's going on her lunch now since GM is the only other manager and bowling manager isn't there. I reply she must have gone home because I recall seeing her with a mask on. She tells me I'll go on lunch when she gets back. I sigh. I was supposed to go like 30 minutes ago. Her response is that I should have just gone. I want to glare at her. I was waiting for someone to cover the counter. So I don't go on break till like 10:40 something, when Sonia and Amy should have been going on a break. But whatever. She complains if we just leave for our breaks on time or if we don't take them on time because we're helping in the kitchen. So I don't know what she wants. I still recall her coming up to me to ask if when I had clocked in. I rattled off, I clocked in at 5, I get off at midnight, I come back at 10 to open. Which is another bullshit fucking thing. They always fucked up my schedule like this and gave me these weird fucking schedules. And then she finally sent Sonia over to take over for me so I can go on lunch. I came back to hear that we were closing both the food and bar at midnight, so at midnight I tell those after my last customer that we're closed and I go to the bar to count. I wipe down the bar with the tap and wine machine, put in the plugs to the draft beers, and remove the drain grid to take it to the back so it can be washed. I noticed a lack of both Sonia and Amy and realized sadly that I was now alone at 12:13 a.m. and do the bar count. I was finally able to leave at around 12:22 a.m. Since Sonia returned, Amy had not, and I was trying to empty out the condiment fridge. My manager just told me to go home so I can get sleep for tomorrow. Though if she really wanted me to be rested, she wouldn't have scheduled me to get off at 12 a.m. and then come in at 10 a.m. I mean, my clothes are going to be dirty because I don't have time to wash them and sleep. Which was another thing. And after I had copied this and edited the grammar, I wrote, I vaguely remember this. There was a lot of aggressive people who the manager mostly did nothing about. Security wasn't there until like later in the evening, and it was an issue. Also, my manager often did fuck up shit with my schedule and complained about a whole bunch of stupid stuff and pushed her work onto us. And I'll get into that later. But yeah, it was a whole bunch of bullshit. And I do recall this vaguely because it often fucking happened. And it was like the most annoying fucking thing. But yeah, that is another story from when I used to work at an arcade. Shitty ass job. And while I often actually completely hate human beings now and being in customer service and refuse to go back to that field. To all of y'all who are still working customer service, thank you. You're amazing. I don't know how you deal with it. Be nice to your customer service people, please. So with that, feel free to share your stories down in the comment section below. Remember, comments are great for the algorithm. Like this video, let the YouTube fucking overlord algorithm gods know that you like my content and want to see more of it. That would be great. After all, I checked my analytics recently and only less than 3% of y'all watching are subscribed. So, do me a favor. Also, thank you very much to my Patreon and Ko-fi supporters for helping financially support me so I can create things like this. I am planning on upgrading my Patreon rewards. Any donation to my Ko-fi gets you a sketch of whatever you would like. So heads up on that, and I'll probably be adding that to my Patreon and or giving you guys some stickers from my Redbubble shop. I'm still considering all that. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Have a lovely day. Stay hydrated. Bye-bye.